Hi. On the internet, there are Muslims who claim to not be Muslims and have nothing on their YouTube accounts to make you think they are Muslims. Yet, I want to tell you something. They eventually show their true colors as they desperately try to defend terrorist Islam. Right now, I'm going to be making a video series called A Stealth Muslim in Action. It'll probably be about 10 parts. I'm not really quite sure yet. Looks like it ended last night. I finally I got tired of the guy's taqiyya, you know what I mean? Taqiyya is now, Sunni Muslims say only Shiites are allowed to do taqiyya. That's a Shiite thing, but I want to tell you something. Muhammad said war is deceit. And a lot of Muslims are believing that anything that's not under the territorial control of Islam is the abode of war, Dar al-Harb. And according to Qur'an 16:106, now Muslims say, oh, it's only if you put a gun to their head can a Muslim lie. No. It says if they just feel they're under compulsion, they can deny Allah. If it's not in their heart that they've really denied Allah, which is so creepy. So anyway, and then I want to tell you something. This script I put together, it's a dialogue between myself and this Muslim who claims to not be Muslim. Says he's from Canada. He sent me something that I think would make a good introduction, and I'll read it to you. And I'll do it with an Irish accent because he's supposedly Irish. And when I'm doing this series, instead of doing that mock Muslim voice, which I'm going to do it in an Irish accent, because if I do it with a mock Muslim voice, I might think, oh, he's a Muslim. I don't want to do a Muslim. I want to read it the way he wants you to believe, that he's Irish. You know what I mean? So when I read it, I'll be using this side of my face for his words. I'll be using this side of my face for my words. Okay, but anyway, before I begin the series, I thought I would read what he sent me and see if he's telling the truth when the dialogue comes. You know what I mean? But first, I'll read his words, hit off with his words, and you can see if he was telling the truth or not. Let's see, is this thing recording? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Alright, here it is. So I'll read his words now. It says, the thing is called Who I Am. Who I Am. Okay. Who I Am. We have been going back and forth on the issue of Islam regarding one single passage, Qur'an 4:24, that we disagree on its meaning. I can accept that we agree to disagree, but it seems you want to accuse me of deceit. It's not that I want to, it's just that it just happens to be that he's lying. I'm a very honest man, and I pride myself on the sense of honour. I take accusations of dishonesty very seriously, and it behoves me to confront those that would accuse me of deceit. In order for me to be lying about this Quranic verse, I would have to believe something different from what I am saying, which is not true. Now perhaps you do not understand how a Caucasian, Irish-born Canadian could possibly defend the right of a Muslim to hold his faith. As if I have a problem with a Muslim defending his faith. I have no problem. Or you know, you know, he wants you to believe that I have something against Muslims, having their faith, Then he goes on. I've said that many times, but you'll see it comes up here. I hope I can perhaps help you understand better by relating my own experiences in hopes you can see the parallel. I was born and raised in Derry, North Ireland, moving to Canada with my parents when I was 16. My father was a steel worker from North Ireland. My mother was from Newfoundland, Canada. My family is Catholic. Though I broke with the church many years ago, I am not religious, but I try to live my life in accordance with karmic balance. I want to tell you, I've met self-Muslims before who say they're not Muslim, and that they claim they're Buddhist. So I guess he's running off that script about being Buddhist. But I'll continue here. And the teachings of the Buddha, though my spirituality incorporates ideas from several faiths. Growing up Catholic in North Ireland, I am no stranger to violence, nor am I a stranger to being ostracized for your religion. Until recently, Catholics in North Ireland were second-class citizens. The UK government has anti-terrorism laws that make the Patriot Act seem passive. I can relate to you at least the experience that caused my parents to finally decide to move to Canada, leaving my grandparents and extended family behind. I was 14. We were visiting my grandparents' farm. My grandfather was a practical man. He had no interest in politics or the Troubles. All he cared about was waking up early, working his farm, having a nice cold beer after a long day's work, and caring for his family. Not once did he consider any sort of involvement with the struggles of the Provost, the IRA. I remember we had just started dinner when British soldiers barged into my grandparents' home. With a few words, they detained my grandfather, my father, and my great-uncle. They were held in jail without charge, all the suspicion of harbouring IRA terrorists. Unfounded and ridiculed charges, but it didn't matter. See, in North Ireland at that time, British soldiers were painful in the streets. British soldiers were plentiful in the streets, and a man could be arrested simply on the virtue of his being Catholic, because it was assumed that Catholic meant terrorist. My father and grandfather were released 21 days later, no charges laid. My grandfather had suffered a broken hip during the torture. My father came home covered in bruises. My great-uncle didn't come home. He suffered a heart attack while being tortured by the Brit Paras for information on the IRA, which he knew little about. I can tell you that very few people in Northern Ireland didn't at least know one of two people in terrorist organisations, but most people were just regular people that tried to live their lives as normal as possible. Given that schools, hospitals, and the like were often terror targets, my father worked a lot of extra hours to save up what we needed to move to Canada to get away from the Troubles and raise me and my brothers in peace. I understand and emphasize with the hundreds of millions of innocent Muslim families that are abused and mistreated by the suspicion of terrorism. Yes, it's a somewhat different scenario, but at its core, the US is treating Muslims very similar to how Catholics were treated in North Ireland. Oh, really? When you stop and want to call me a stealth Muslim, maybe this will help you understand what really motivates me to try and stop the ignorance and the hate. I lived it. I suppose it must be the easiest thing in the world for a guy like you, live in the US in relative safety overall, with all the world's problems a half a world away, to lose sight. The woman who had her head sawed off by her husband was not a half a world away. A Bridges TV, that was not over that was in America. Pretty Pakistani woman had her head sawed off by her husband. Honor killing. Qur'an 18, 74 through 81. Right here in America. But I'll continue. Where am I here? Let's see here. Yes, let's see here. Living in the US in relatively safety overall, with all the world's problems a half a world away, to lose sight of the real face of what's going on in the world. But I'm not so blind. Is there totalitarian dictators in the Middle East? Yes, there is. Yes. Is there a prevailing culture that is somewhat less progressed than our own in the West? Absolutely. Is it the faith that is to blame for the culture? No, the culture is what it is. And while religion always takes center stage, It isn't the core issue these people concern themselves with. Religion is the problem. Not one specific one. All religious organizations have led the world astray and to the brink of destruction. It's not a new thing. What's new now is that mankind actually possesses the ability to create an apocalypse on earth and destroy everything. That is the ultimate end of this path of our species is on. This is the ultimate end of this path our species is on. Hate begets violence. Hate begets violence, begets more violence, begets more hate. It's a never-ending cycle that only ends in destruction. And yet he's defending Islam. I'll continue. Do what you will with what I have said. And if you do choose to have adult debate with me, I am more than willing. I'm Irish. More passion than restraint. I'll tell you that's for sure. At the best of times. And laughing out loud. Fighting is in the blood. Laughing out loud. That's true. Of course, he doesn't know that I've got some Irish. He doesn't know that I got some Irish in me too, you know. All in all, I hope one day you find inner peace. Well, we'll be seeing, won't we be seeing that he doesn't know that I've got inner peace in me right now. But anyway, okay, well, I'll now present the series called, I put this into my book that I'm going to put out called Holding the Mirror Up to Islam. And this is called A Stealth Muslim in Action. You know, I want to tell you something. Anybody, anyone, Irish doesn't matter, can become a Muslim. You know something? I actually believe what he said here. I believe that's true. But I'm now going to read his words and my words, and you'll see what I mean here. But anyway, that'll be the next video after this.